Hello, I'm Geoff.
And I'm Patrick.
How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. How are you at home? Hopefully all good. Or
Yes.
home or at work.
Oh yes, yeah. We've been reliably informed. It's great. I want to know where everyone's listening.
Oh yeah. We've been good as well because we have, after people, I would say, telling us, I'm going to border on saying rightfully harassing us. We're up to date now on the podcasts, aren't we?
Yay.
Oh, and there's Belle.
And there's Belle. Yeah,
there she is.
She's well trained.
Hello.
Union
Hello, Belle. You just started
fees.
using me for a stretch.
Yeah.
There
yeah.
we go. Hello. All right, Belle, you're over-egging it now.
Yeah, we're up to date on Spotify. So if you're listening to us on Spotify, my apologies for...
Yes. So if you are listening to us on Spotify, you've only got another 2 miles on that treadmill. Go for it.
Yeah. Somebody said...
Oh, hang on,
monitor
look
at
behind
work.
you. Your dog's had a poo. Quick, pick up. I was just thinking of all the people places might be listening to us as opposed to watching us.
Watch out for that duck.
Yeah. That was a bit of left field. I like it, though.
Yeah, why not?
Okay. Yeah, so wherever you are, enjoying, watching, listening, let us know.
Yeah.
We've always geared it, haven't we, that it's while you're painting,
Yes.
which is partly the name of the reason for the name of the channel.
My thanks for people listening to this week is specifically only to people that have us on in their car. They've turned the volume up loud and just sort of put the phone on the passenger seat or something like that.
Yeah, which is generally how I do it.
Yeah.
I jam mine. Yeah. I have a habit of jamming it between where the seat and with that bit there.
Oh, very good. Yeah.
Or a special shout out to people who've got this on really loud in the car with somebody who has no interest whatsoever. Every time I get in this car, you've got them two bloody idiots on talking about toy soldiers.
Yes, yeah. Am I going to get tips for painting on this podcast?
No, I wouldn't have thought so. Anyway, talking of that, what are we talking about this week? You've written an extensive list.
We've made a little list, haven't we,
Yes.
as always, which helps with the chaptering.
It does.
Which makes it more convenient for people to listen to. You have asked about The Emperor's Children, how soon for some additional Chaos models, Tom Cruise. I've written down £47.50.
£47.50.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an interesting, just little teaser of a thing.
That's it. Yeah, I should have just said. I might just make the chapter the Yorkshire War Cry.
How much?
Our painting bad habits, and then whether you guys have any of yourselves.
Yes.
And then the GW Creator Program.
Yes.
has had some interesting goings on.
There's been some mild waves, hasn't there?
Yes, there has. Yeah. Which being on the outside of is interesting. So
it certainly is.
How that might affect the creators that are involved.
Oh, bless you, Bill.
Oh dear. Oh dear. So do you want to talk about Emperor's Children first?
Yes, only briefly. Obviously, we all have seen the news that they will be up for pre-order now, as you watch this. So we're recording it the week before. I think it's a really good box. I like what's in it. I think it's pretty cool. The thing I'm mostly interested in is we've been hovering a bit on when's that going to come out. I'm getting the feeling that from certain sources have said it as well, and also as well to go, are we going to have a bit of a rush now? Of as somebody who has a Chaos army, we're going to have a little bit of a rush of releases for codexes because we've got 2 more still in the wind.
Yeah.
So got 3 more still in the wind, haven't we? Because this is Emperor's Children. Emperor's Children, World Eaters haven't been done yet. Thousand Suns haven't been done yet. And Death Guards haven't been done.
Yeah.
And then the interesting bit is how much are they going to get? Because obviously Emperor's Children have been well serviced with this misses. That was very Slanesh Roy of putting it. Hey. Been well served with this new box. Mm-hmm. But then again, they've been out in the wild for a very long time, so they needed it.
Yeah.
Whereas, Emperor's Children, World Eaters last edition did quite well. Thousand Suns could probably do with a bit more love. And I have heard this weird little rumour that maybe the Thousand Suns may have found one of the STC facilities and might be having Men of Iron. They might have robots coming.
Oh, interesting.
That'd be quite cool.
Some chaos. Because that was, spoilers, for Gaunt's Ghosts.
But yeah,
Book
Gaunt's Ghosts
one.
book 1 or 2, wasn't it? Whichever it was.
I think. Oh, crikey! What was it? I can't remember if it was 1 or 2. I think it was 1.
1. Yeah,
I think
they
it was
found
1.
They found a Men of Iron STC.
Yeah, they found an STC.
I think we're all right for spoilers because I think that book's from about 1999 or something.
Yeah.
I think 20 years might be all right.
Yes. But
Later on, I might tell people who Luke Skywalker's dad is.
Too soon.
Yes, yeah, maybe too soon for that.
Yes, they found an STC, didn't they? And it was interesting in that one. I think there was they mention how somebody found an STC that makes better knives for Space Marines, and then they were like, "That's amazing. Here's your own planet."
And I like that, but I also go, "What are you meant to do with a planet?"
That's a fair point. Yeah. And then what they're like, this planet's
There's so much walking, isn't there? You can do really. You know?
Yes, and then I wonder like whether they give you a role on said planet.
Oh yeah. Maybe it's an established planet, and they go, "You're now in charge." And you go, "But my admin's awful."
Yeah. If they said like, right, this is your planet. By the way, you're the planetary governor.
Yeah.
And this, that, and the other. You got loads of money in a mansion. Have at it. You'd be like, woohoo! But if they were just like, hey, this planet's yours, but then they just drop you off, and then they say if there's already a population, blah 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 blah, you'd be like, this planet's mine. They're like, shut the fuck up, Steve.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't. Yeah.
A barbarian planet you murdered within about 2 minutes of being there.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Or a planet with nothing on it. They go, there you go. You've got this massive ball. It's basically the Lake District. You go, oh, now I'm.
Pretty.
I was in the guard and I was getting fed. And now I'm banging flints together to try and make a fire.
There's Herdwick sheep everywhere.
Yeah, this might not have been as good a deal as I thought. We should never found that bloody knife machine.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I don't know how good it would be. But yes, so and Death Guard 8th edition basically had an entirely new range built for them. And then in 9th edition, they got one miniature being the Lord of Virulence, I think he was called, and that's it.
And then we already know the one model that they're going to get this time.
Yeah, we've seen the one model.
Yeah.
But you go, God, hope it's not just that. But it might be. You go, how many codexes can you... There's a question. Tell us. How many codexes can you go where you just get a miniature before you go, hang on a minute, come on. Because this will be this potentially could be codex number 2 for Death Guard of having one miniature.
Yeah.
And you go, they are creaking at the seams in certain areas, the Death Guard. Generally doing okay, but certain areas where you think they could be doing with more love than that, Everything's mega slow. And you sort of go, well, everything's meant to be mega slow other than the demon engines, because they're full of pus and they're not well.
Yeah.
And this relentless wave sort of thing. So I don't know. Do you know, another version of Poxwalkers would be nice. Some other variant don't have to affect the Marines. Like if the rumours about Thousand Suns are true, giving them some other support element would be cool.
Yeah.
But so how many codexes could you go before you got a bit annoyed that your army was only getting blatantly a token character just to tick it over? Like had Adeptus Mechanicus happened to them, they just got like a character to tide them over. I think Sisters of Battle did the same last time. They just given them these token characters just to go, you can't have a book without anything, so we've got to...
Yeah.
So...
What did Gene Stealers get this time?
Gene Stealer Cult, they got a big-brained...
Oh, yes.
Some big-brained weirdo character.
Yeah,
I haven't
looked like sort of like a Delac thing.
Yeah, which I haven't yet bought. So how much of that can you put up with before you go, I'm getting a bit bored, that my army's a bit dry,
Yeah.
Yeah, so great stuff that Emperor's Children are on the way. I personally really like them. Won't be playing them, but really like them.
I have mixed feelings. I prefer Heresy, Emperor's Children.
Yeah, which are really cool. They are really cool. I'll tell you what I'd be tempted on to scratch the itch further down the line is if I know they've tried not to do specifics when it comes to the Marines as such, but of either flavour. But if they did an Emperor's Children kill team, I'd be quite tempted.
Yes.
That'd be quite cool.
Yes. Kill teams really, really, really appeal to me at the minute.
Yeah, and it's just great.
I thoroughly enjoyed painting my raptors.
Yeah.
And, having it be like, I can paint them. There's this obscure thing. I only have to do 7.
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah.
It's great.
Or up to like a maximum of like, I think about the maximum I think I've seen is, and you can tell me wrong, because I obviously haven't played against every kill team. Far from it, but I think the maximum at the moment I've seen is Death Code Creek's about 14.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And you'll want to take less than them, because if you take less than them, it triggers you another skill.
Okay.
But if you max them out, you don't get access to it. But if you take less than you're meant to, a bit like Rattlings, for if you don't take the Ogrons, you get access to other stratagems. But if you do, you don't. So, I'd be quite tempted to do some Bright Pink Emperor's Children if they did them as a kill team. That'd be quite cool. Or people watching will probably go, well, you can go and buy the Legionaries and just turn. And it's true. You can do.
Yeah.
But or just whichever way around you want to do it. But so I'd like to see what's next. I feel like I'm disappointed in advance that I feel like I know the Death Guards are just going to get that one guy. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I really hope I'm wrong. Could really do it like a heavy weapon squad or some bikers or something. But but I think now it's going to be a bit of a run on, isn't it? I think it'll be. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Chaos biting at the heels of Chaos now for a little while.
Yeah. Which
is fine.
Then do you think we'll get Space Wolves at Adepticon?
Oh, do I think Space Wolves will get announced at Adepticon?
So is that end of March?
Yeah. Oh, I think.
Is it end of March, early April?
Yeah, end of March. Yeah. Late March. Oh, I'm not going this year. I really enjoyed it last year. I really liked it. But New Year, new location. I'd be maybe like to hear what Milwaukee.
Yeah,
I'd like to maybe see what people say about it before.
All I know about Milwaukee is the film Basketball was set there,
which I've never even seen.
And the basketball team was called the Milwaukee Bears.
I like the sound of them.
And I don't know how. You know what? I want to stop short of saying, "Oh, it's an amazing film." When I was a young teenager, I thought it was hilarious because it was made by the South Park creators.
Yeah.
I don't know how well it's aged.
Trey Parker and Matt Stone. Isn't
yes.
Yeah.
The
one I'm talking, just going off that I seen the other day was, and I thought, would I still enjoy this as much as although I was an adult, let's be said, when I did see it originally, but I thought I seen it flick up somewhere the other day, and I thought, I might need to rewatch Dodgeball. I haven't seen it in quite a while, and I remember finding it extraordinarily funny when I seen it.
I really liked it. I think some of Patch's O'Houlihan's.
If you can dodge a spanner, you can dodge a ball.
Yeah, like one or two of his sentences perhaps aren't quite as probably weren't PC then.
No.
Definitely not anymore. But I think the Ben Stiller's still amazing.
Oh yeah,
and he's just like nobody makes me bleed my own blood. Michelle. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, maybe that makes me need to watch that. I might need to watch that again.
Ben Stiller in that film is hilarious.
Yeah.
And he's great. Just at the end, fucking Chuck Norris. That and Anchorman were essentially like before memes existed. We just throw around quotes from Dodgeball and Anchorman. That's
I was always majorly a big one for throwaway quotes from Spaced.
Yes.
Yeah, because which is just I'm sure most of you have seen Spaced. If you haven't, I think it's all available on Channel 4 on demand. The
amount of times
I love that. Now for you, I'm gonna have a pint of the black stuff.
You can't drink a pint of Bovril.
There you go. See, brilliant.
And the amount of times I say to people, skip to the end. Dangerous.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Spaced, please go and give it a look. And you know what? It's 1990s British comedy, but it's because so much of it is ingrained in science fiction and superheroes and all the rest of it. I just don't think it's dating. I don't think there's nothing in it where I know people go, you wouldn't get away with making that now. I don't think there's virtually anything in Space where you think, that would be a bit dodgy.
No, I don't think so.
I think it's all really been really well thought out even at the time.
Yeah.
So back to it. Are we now going to have a bit of a run of chaos, and how little can you put up with having? Is basically where I'm going to put that, I think.
Yeah. We'll see what happens, eh?
Yeah. Adepticon. I think we'll definitely see Kill Team.
Yeah, new Kill Team.
And interesting ones at the moment. And yes, I am going to simp after you mentioned Chapter Master Valrak. Yes, I am simping that you know more than I do, which is odd. But he seems to think that they reckon that it's going to be called Blood and Zeal.
Oh, okay.
After Brutal and Cunning.
Yeah.
Blood and Zeal. Next one after that be Sausage and Chips. Is it all going to be like something against something?
Yes, I think I saw that same video. Yeah. So does it mean Blood Angels or whatever? I'll leave all the speculation.
Yeah. So he's like blood. He seems to think blood is meaning corn of some flavour.
Yeah.
And zeal is potentially something Space Marine-esque, and he seems to think Grey Knights.
Okay, so
it'd be a good way of bringing Grey Knights into
here's
new
my
sculpts.
Here's my Valrak conspiracy. He knows exactly what it is. He's just drip feeding.
Oh yeah, we've said this before. Hasn't he? He's already got the 11th edition box.
Yeah.
Well, the 11th edition rules already. You know what it's like.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think we'll see that. Whether we'll see Space Wolves, I don't know. I think we might, because we're banging on the door of March now anyway.
Yeah.
I think we might see the next Chaos release or two.
Yeah.
Personally, for me,
and
I would like to see Space Wolves this summer.
New edition of Heresy, I think, has to be a must.
Yeah.
Because that is going to be released this year. So I can't believe that it will be like 11th edition next year.
I know. Feels like 5.
It's mental. I mean, it's over.
Do you know what? I don't think I've finished painting the Staying Guard veterans from the last one. Still think I've got about 2 or 3 of them left to paint. So, I could maybe do with a year. I could just push it back another year, maybe. But I hope with 11th they don't batter the rules again. I'd like to see them. I would imagine, all being well, that some of the changes they've made in 10th edition rules will just. I'd like to see the next rule book be a tweak. Things I'd like to see come back. I'd like to see more point costs on weapons and things. I'd like to see it a little bit more, not being so set in stone what everything is.
Yeah.
Although I have liked the lack of thinking with regards to army building, but I think army building is almost part of the art of playing the game for a lot of people, not for thick people like me. But yeah, so so I think that will be, from a 40k standpoint, I think Kill Team. Which will actually, unless Kill Team really follows very quickly on the heels of that will make Kill Team quite late, because Kill Team's trying to be like every 3 months or so, isn't it? Meant to be like 4 a year.
I think so.
And we had one in December.
Yeah.
So if we go December to January, so like, because it was the Saturday before Christmas, so January, February, March, April. So it's still going to, by the time it comes out, it's going to, at the very earliest, it's going to be like a month after it's announced. So it's running a little bit later. So we'll see. Kill Team is the one I'm probably most interested in finding out what's coming out.
I am well keen for Kill Team,
because I already feel like I've opened my Christmas presents early when it comes to Death Guard.
Yeah, I really want the Orc like tank busters.
Yeah, they're great miniatures.
I saw what was it? Brutal and Cunning.
Yeah,
or not brutal, like brutal and tiny people.
Yeah, brutal and cunning. Yeah, rattlings and they shouldn't be long out till they're out.
I saw in Element Games in Nottingham they still had a box. And I regret not buying it. But I haven't even painted my Night Lord, so I thought, So
well, for people who are saying that they can't get hold of things, and yes, this is specifically a little bit for people who lived in Nottingham. I've seen Brutal and Cunning in the wild, which was at our friends and yours Element Games. And I talk about this mecca of hobbying frequently.
Yeah.
Boys in Arnold, Nottingham had a Hivestorm box the other day.
There's also in Nottingham a new boys that's opened up in Beeston.
And are they a 40k supplier?
It replaced
a Warhammer supplier.
Yes, they do. Yeah, to the point where my girlfriend she went in, because I was like, we walked past it. I think Beeston did like a light night where they have some people with glowy things on and go woo.
Can't believe I missed that.
I know, it was amazing. There was some music that was good. I always find there's only so many drumming bands that you can listen to. Like we listened to one. And it was Burns night as well, and they were drumming, and there was a guy with bagpipes. We're like, cool. And we walked maybe 100 meters down the street, and then there was another one. And we're like, well, it's a slightly different vibe of drumming. Still in 4/4 though.
It's like that street we walked down in Vegas that had 3 concerts on. Yes. You could hear the last concert as you approach the next one.
Yeah. So yes. If anyone wants a discount version of Las Vegas, go to Beeston on Burns night.
Just the same.
It's far more middle class. You won't find any half-naked fake nuns.
Oh, that's a shame. They were great.
So, so there we go. You know, what more can we ask for?
So anyway,
yes,
boys.
There's a boys, and I walked past it and said, "Oh, Geoff says they sell quite a lot of Warhammer." And she went in and took a picture of the stuff that they have.
Yeah, they're really well stocked too, because
Yeah.
they sell all the Colourforge range.
Yeah.
Loads of Vallejo paint.
Yes,
Hummel
yeah.
paint. Bits of things for airbrushes. I went in the other day and went in to get 2 pots of paint. I'll get to why I bought them, but particularly why I bought them in a bit. And then when I was in there, and it came out also with a bottle of Vallejo Flow Improver.
Oh, wonderful. I was in a hobbycraft recently. We went down to see some friends in Kent, and the hotel we were staying at had a hobbycraft like right next door.
I thought you were going to say in it. I was going to say that's an interesting crossover.
Yeah. So you have to sew your own duvet before you go to bed.
Yeah, it's a small shop that sells chocolate mints to put on your own pillow.
Yes. And I remember seeing that they stock Warhammer now, and I've gone to the hobbycraft in Nottingham quite a lot because they have the
they have a lot of the Tamiya stuff.
They have all of the Tamiya paints.
Yeah.
And like if you
but they don't have Warhammer.
They do now.
Oh, have they? Because they used to and then stopped.
Oh, did they?
And then now must have gone back to it because they never used to have it.
They've been big into like their air fixes and air fix kits and all that sort of stuff. I've got loads of spirits and oil paints and all that sort of stuff there because there's a crossover there. But now they have a GW rack.
Wonder how that came back to be because, like I say, they stopped.
Yeah.
It was always very basic.
Yes. So they have a rack of GW paints. It's not the full rack. They have some starter sets. It's all full price. So if you're going to get into it, you're way better off going to Element or another hobby shop because they usually run them at a discount.
Yeah.
So, but it's getting Warhammer in front of a wider audience.
Yeah, which is always good. Yeah, but boys is well priced as well. They're They run 20% off. They're really
fantastic.
They're really reasonable.
Yeah.
So yes, I've seen a Hive Storm in the wild, and I've also seen a Brutal Encounter still on the shelf in Element Games in Nottingham.
Yeah. And they had Deathcore Crew boxes left as well.
Oh, excellent. So, there you go.
So that was quite surprising.
Cool. So that's what I think with regards to Adepticon and local stores.
Yes, we somehow started off with Emperor's Children.
Yeah, there we go. But that's it.
Yeah, the Tamiya paints as well. Like I think they're like £2.60.
Yeah, they're really well priced, Tamiya.
And I remember. I think I went into Element Games because Flat White is the one that generally is always out of stock. Yes. And I remember really, really wanting some and going onto Amazon to get it. Yeah, it's pay like a £5 or something like that.
Whereas you probably can in Hobbycraft just go, can you order some of that in for me and phone me when it's
presume so, yeah.
So I would imagine it's a sort of shop that has to do a lot of ordering per customer because such a wide range of things within the hobby that people will probably want.
Yeah, I think because they always sell stuff at retail price. Hobbycraft is quite expensive, but
Tamiya's relatively cheap anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, Tamiya's not too expensive. I think I'm so used to say like, oh, I need a new contrast paint. That's almost £5.
Yeah.
And then being like, oh, £2.60.
Yeah.
That's almost free. Which is obviously not the best way to think about it. But there we go.
Cool. So then the next one.
Tom Cruise, baby.
Tom Cruise.
Or should we keep it on models and should we talk about £47.50?
Go on then. We'll do £47.50 before we get to the Tom Cruise story.
Yeah.
Yes, so £47.50. What are we talking about at £47.50? We're talking about the new Black Library miniatures, which is... I was banging on about these the other week because I was really impressed, although I have no need to buy them because... I don't collect Guard, and I'm doing my best not to collect Guard, I've talked about previously. But £47.50 for what is 5 miniatures. And yes, they are very cool. And yes, they connect into a really loved series of books. But yeah, the box is called Hell's Last, and it's the miniatures that accompany Captain Lesk, or as Warhammer Community have put, Captain Lesk and their eccentric command squad. Eclectic, not eccentric, or maybe eccentric and eclectic.
They've probably all had rejuvenate.
Yeah, probably. So an eclectic command squad, and I've got to be honest, I thought when we went into the upper echelons of the 40s for Kill Team boxes, I thought that's a bit harsh. But then I also went, oh, well, does come with tokens. So I am a bit...
They've thrown a bit of cardboard in there.
Yeah, they've thrown a bit of cardboard in there, and I'm easily pleased.
The value.
Yeah, I'm easily pleased. Go, cardboard. Well, that makes up for the price. That must have cost a penny and a half. You know what I mean? But
at least they've had the decency to apply the lube before.
Yeah, before ramming it in, whereas this doesn't even feel like anybody's even done any spitting.
That's going in dry, isn't it?
Yeah, it absolutely is. £47.50, and good old gentleman over on the channel that is Auspex Tactics.
Yeah.
Because he's anonymous. He is Auspex Tactics.
Aside, I would absolutely love to have Auspex on the show, and just sort of like, say if the camera cuts to this and just nobody sat here and we have him with a microphone off camera.
I just think it'd be good if the whole, you'd have to do a lot of transcribing, but if we recorded the whole episode and then the whole episode went out as a PowerPoint.
That'd be good. Yeah.
But anyway, and he rightly pointed out, because the data card's available for these guys now to be able to see.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it's not great. It's not great at all.
I haven't looked at it. What's not great about
it? They are very, very basic. What they've done is Lesk has her own stats.
Okay.
And then everybody else shares the same stats.
Right.
And then it's just their little bits of the weaponry that they get, basically, which is a little bit different. So other than that, they are all the other characters, even though it's a very characterful looking team.
Yes.
They all basically behave as the same person, just with different weaponry. Oh. Which I think, 47 quid 50. I personally be wanting them to each have a data slate of their own, even though they were a command squad.
Yeah, and
I don't know, it's a command squad.
They're not in the guard codex, are they?
No, they're not in the guard codex.
If they've been given their own
they
rules
might be in the guard codex for 11th edition if you bought them.
Yeah,
but I think if you have to relate that price to some degree back towards Kill Team, because it's the nearest thing. But that's less than the Marines. When Angels of Death come out in a box, they won't even cost that, or they'll cost that as a maximum. And that's still more miniatures than that. Don't get me wrong, each of these miniatures individually are very, very nice, especially the Commissar and the Standard Bearer. I really like it.
I mean, it's
4750 is a stinger,
it's a niche. It's a niche within a niche, isn't it? So you're going to have, I guess, those. If the rules aren't incredible, they're generally only appealing to people that have read the books and want the models.
Yes, or people who just really big die-hard painters.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if I've seen them. I wouldn't be surprised if I've seen them. Probably not this year. Maybe October for Essen for Spiel. I wouldn't be surprised if I've seen them turned up at a Golden Demon, because they have got that. They've really got. If you're big into your painting and you're a competition painter, there's a lot to go at with these, I think.
Because there was a guard command squad that won I can't remember which Golden Demon, whether it was Essen or whatever, but I swear there was a guard command squad on a cool base with a backdrop, and I'm thinking of the Krieg one. I know that was definitely done.
Yeah, maybe.
That had, like, cool birds and lights and
it
stuff,
was. I think it was that Krieg one where they were looking at that pit.
I swear somebody had a flag. There was one with a flag.
It's the Imperial Guard. They love a flag.
Yes.
So, but I can't help relating that back to a box of Kill Team. Very characterful. But I know badly priced for me.
The starter set is priced to get people into the hobby. So the Kill Team starter set, get it from Element Games, it's 55 quid. And you get 14 models.
Yeah, 14 miniatures.
And they're all
boards,
fantastic.
Scenery,
yeah.
guides.
So, like, on model count, etc., obviously it's a no-brainer. Maybe we're, that's comparing apples and oranges or whatever.
Yeah,
but
maybe.
It's I'm not getting them.
I just think, I think it's playing on people's, to some degree, I think it's playing on people's sentimentality to the books.
Yeah.
Personally, I think that's a bit pricey for me.
Yes. And there's a rumoured price increase soon.
Yes, because obviously we know from looking at the financial reports that have come out for GW, they really are struggling at the moment.
Yes, I think they really are.
They're really having a tough time.
Yeah, like they're only making 100 million profit a quarter or whatever.
Just bless them,
Yeah. Should we start a GoFundMe for Games Workshop?
Maybe have to. Yeah,
'cause I think they, bless them.
Well, they apparently now more, haven't they? Don't they now? Which is a damning praise to some degree, is that they now make more money than the UK farm fishing industry.
Really?
Yeah. Which I don't know which that says more about us, about how well Games Workshop's doing or how badly the British fishing industry is doing.
Yes.
One or the other. I wouldn't like to hazard to guess. I did like simping again. I did like Valrak's one where he went.
Two mentions.
Yeah, when Valrak said Games Workshop now more successful than Greg's, and I thought that's such a localized. The fact that he led with that was such a localized thing, because the amount of American fans that I know Valrak's got, he's got enough fans that he went over there and put a tournament on in the States.
Oh, crikey! Yeah.
So you were just going, who's Greg's?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's such a British-ism. But also...
Doing better, the company that makes sausage rolls and pasties.
Yes. You see, Greg's, they've pandered to a wider audience, and they've made a vegan sausage roll, and now company's gone down shitter. No. The vegan sausage roll is really good.
It is really good.
It's really good.
As a huge carnivore.
Yes.
Huge carnivore.
It's well seasoned.
I will, if they go, they've only got the vegan ones left, I'll go on then.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
It doesn't touch the sides anyway, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, moving on.
Yes. There was the baseless rumour that
Hello, Bella.
Tom Cruise, because he's worked with Henry Cavill before in Mission Impossible.
Yes,
that,
Fallout.
Yes.
I do love.
Yes, I'm a big fan of that one.
Very good.
It provided us with Henry Cavill reloading his fists.
Well, which is always a winner.
Which was a wonderful scene. That whole
even as a heterosexual man, that's still a great scene.
Yeah. I mean, that bathroom fight scene.
It's great.
Is so good. It's so good.
And one of the guy they're fighting.
Yes.
The Asian martial artist in it, who they're fighting, was one of the Red Guard from The Last Jedi.
Oh, cool.
So he's obviously quite well weapons trained as well.
Yeah, because he's like a renowned.
No matter what you think of The Last Jedi, I don't know. There is very varying opinions on it. That scene's great, and no matter what they say, that's a great scene.
I tell you what, there's a lot of varying opinions just on that scene.
Really?
Yes.
Because I love that scene.
Yeah, there's Corridor Crew. I think they pick it apart with the stunt coordinator because, like, I remember when it first seeing it in the cinema, I was very like finally awesome, cool fighting.
Yeah.
And there was some cool stuff in there. There's some other bits, like there's one scene especially where I think Ray...
people just not doing anything.
Yeah, yes. There's lots of like where people stand there and maybe the actor was a little bit late and they're sort of like, oh, I need to wait for that guy to get out the way before I go in.
Yeah.
You see it a lot in Jackie Chan movies where people kind of go... and like... Because they're on camera, they have to look like they're doing something. So they stand still and just be like, yep, hand's still working, and go. So there's a bit of that.
You should always just do that thing of, that rocking back and forwards as you're in Street Fighter if you don't do anything with the game.
Yeah, just stand
just beat a car up while they're waiting.
Yeah. They just go really, really pixelated and just rock backwards and forwards. Or is it like in the space, I can't remember the name of the game now, not Space Marine 2, but the kind of Doom rip-off one that came out.
Bolt Gun.
Bolt Gun, yes.
Yeah.
If you just stand still, he will get the Codex Astartes out and start flicking through them. But he's such a great thing. And it's Doom-inspired.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a scene where I think Ray is, she's, I don't know, been like in some kind of chokehold kind of thing or whatever. And they were like, oh, this guy has like a weapon in their other hand and he doesn't just immediately stab Ray. So as the hand goes down, and it passes, like it's obscured from camera, they just like Photoshop out the weapon. It's just like, bloop. Oh, he's only got one arm now.
But I think like that's ruining that scene now.
Yeah, and this is the annoying thing because I love all the behind the scenes and how stuff's made, and that's like really like tickles my brain. And after watching that, there's loads of stuff that I can't unsee.
Whereas I'm not going to watch the Corridor Crew now because I like that. I like that scene.
I think there's a lot to be said for just enjoying something just because you can,
Yeah.
and you want to.
Yeah.
And now that I've gone into that, I'm like, oh, I kind of ruined that a bit for myself. Anyway, yes, I think generally proven to be a bit of a sort of a fake news sort of thing.
Yes.
But I think it caught on because it would be really cool to have Tom Cruise in Warhammer. So like him and Henry Cavill have worked together before.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise, I'm going to put it out there, apart from maybe from War of the Worlds, when he does sci-fi, he doesn't miss.
No, and do you know what?
And War of the Worlds,
I personally don't have a problem with War of the Worlds. Personally, it is weird that when people die, their genes all survive. Everyone who gets zapped seems their trousers float away. I don't know why. Not shirts or jackets, just trousers. I don't know what it is that the Martian laser can't disintegrate denim. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But anyway, and our visions are just military and just massive big denim covered armors. Get on to Levi's. We need more armor building.
Yeah, it's just everyone. They were like what was it? They call it double denim, the Canadian tuxedo.
Just denim tanks now with big brass rivets and all the corners.
Yeah.
But and I don't mind War of the Worlds, but yes, he generally, I think, he is like the modern. Hopefully, only in this reference, but he is like the modern Charlton Heston, because Charlton Heston, who like had a strong career, and then started doing some quirky science fiction. You know, Soylent Green. Planet of the Apes. I want to say I Am Legend, but it wasn't called that. The Amiga Man. He did quirky science fiction in the early 70s. And Tom Cruise has been a bit like that, you know, because he did Edge of Tomorrow, which I really love.
Minority Report,
which I really like.
Yeah.
You know, he's a good guy for getting involved in science fiction. The other one as well, where everyone's left the planet, and it's just him and the lady left doing that job. They're living in the sky.
Oblivion?
Oblivion, thank you very much. Yeah, which I really like as well. So, yes, we're probably not going to get Tom Cruise working for Amazon on the telly. But do you know what I like from this? Is the fact that, and yes, I know it's not a wide-ranging rumour. It's not like it's been reported in Vanity Fair or in Variety or anything like that. But I like the fact that it shows people are taking interest in going, oh, well, this is happening.
Yeah,
it probably isn't. But
because
I'm quite happy to have Tom Cruise in the 40k universe. I know loads of people don't like him, and I know for a whole range of reasons.
Yes, yeah, and all that aside, I think like he's kind of generally known more for like the Mission Impossible films in like sort of like the twilight of his career.
Yeah.
Like when I immediately sort of saw it, I was like, no, but he doesn't really star in anything that he like doesn't produce. Like he's very involved. Like Tom Cruise stars in Tom Cruise movies.
Do you know the interesting thing is if you had Tom Cruise in science fiction, if you had Tom Cruise in 40k telly, and then made him a space marine, that'd be twice he was playing a character that he was far smaller than.
You know what? I did watch the Tom Cruise Jack Reacher movies.
I don't like the second one, but I like the first one.
Yeah.
And the thing is having read some Reacher character,
yes,
he's bang on.
Yes.
He just
and
bless him a bit.
Having watched like the TV series, because the season 3's out now, so I was
like, bless him. I love it's really brains out telly, you know. It's you know, dinner on your knee or pizza and a beer, but I still really love Reacher TV show.
Yeah.
But you said to me off cam that you said you quite like him to be Eisenhorn.
Yeah,
and I think he'd be an all right Eisenhorn.
I think he'd be all right, because I think like a lot of Eisenhorn
you know what, though, is his shit-eating grin that he does well.
Yes,
that he does well.
Yeah,
would be great for Kane.
Yes, yeah, as a Commissar Kane, because Kane is kind of like, oh Christ, because Tom Cruise, like, he is great. I think he's a very, very, very good actor. Like in the earlier days, like when was he in Magnolia and
love Magnolia, big fan of Magnolia
and all that sort of stuff. Like the guy's got range.
Yeah.
But I think like he could do that sort of shit eating grin and all that sort of stuff. But I think like with Ethan Hunt, Mission Impossible, lots of his films, he's someone that's kind of like pushed the boundaries a little bit, gone rogue a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's sort of Eisenhorn all over, really.
I know. Problem I have, and I know he probably won't be the man who plays it. But and I know and I know my leap to why I think so is partly based on him voicing him in a video game. But I just can't get Eisenhorn being Mark Strong out my head. Just Mark Strong for me all day long, Eisenhorn. Yeah. But I don't think Tom Cruise is going to join the universe. But it'd be nice if he did.
I think it would be.
I'd be interested to see. But it's quite funny, isn't it? Because he has that thing that Tom Cruise, I think, at times likes to surround himself with people that he knows are solid.
Yeah.
Because I think then you could have him. You could then put Blum.
Do you think you could have Tom Cruise as Commissar Kane, and then Simon Pegg could be his sidekick? Oh my God!
Well, I can't remember his name. Can't remember.
Jürgen, yes.
Yay! Or Tom Cruise is Eisenhorn. Simon Pegg under loads of makeup could be his savant, the old man.
Yeah. That's great. That's a great shout.
And then you'd have what's her face who's been in the last few.
Oh, Rebecca Ferguson.
Rebecca Ferguson could be.
Sorry, she's only dead in Mission Impossible.
Yeah, she's not dead in real life.
She's not dead in real life.
That's not how films work. Pat.
Wait, it was a documentary.
No, that's how they work. Hang on. Yeah, been putting the vodka in again instead of the water. Yeah, Rebecca Ferguson would be a good. I'd have her for Beckwin.
Oh, she'd be a great Beckwin. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
There we go.
So we could just use the Mission Impossible cast, and you could then just make.
Yeah. So we take Mission Impossible, and then we move them all into Warhammer.
But but the quirky rumor from a good while ago about cast members, and it was said and then dropped, and I also thought she would also be a brilliant choice for her. I can't remember her name utterly, but the young lady who is extraordinarily attractive, who was in the last Bond, Anna D. something.
Oh yeah, Anna de Armas.
Yes, she was mentioned many moons ago for being Beckwin. And again, would be great for that.
Yeah, she'd be really good. Like in the most recent, her character in the most recent Bond was really fun.
Good.
And I like the twist because she plays it. You assume like, oh, she's new to the job and she's bubbly and fun and she's just gonna and then bullets start flying and she's gonna be useless and then she's amazing. Yeah.
But I think where Rebecca Ferguson would work well for Beckwin is the fact that de-aging her for season 1 wouldn't be particularly difficult because she's not an older lady by any stretch of the imagination. I don't even know if she's in her 40s yet. But in season 1, you could play her young, and then season 2, which has jumped 100 years, she could just be a little bit. You could let her just be the characters. Because she is they don't not age at all when they're important stuff. They just age a lot slower by the drugs they use.
Yeah, all the rejuvenate treatments. Yeah. Yes.
So
I think Ferguson.
I'm now not even bothered about Tom Cruise being Eisenhorn. I just want Simon Pegg and Rebecca Ferguson.
And we're assuming it's Eisenhorn because I guess that's kind of like the first training at the station, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's because
everyone says, "Oh, a book, Eisenhorn."
Yeah, because it's the one that drip feeds you the 40k universe slowly.
Yes, and it does such an incredible job. I think.
And I think and also to some degree, I think. Gaunt's does as well because it mainly sticks to only the one type of bad guy. It's like chaos guys who are once human.
Yeah,
and and that's pretty much it. In one of the books, they mention a Dark Eldar assassin.
Yeah,
and Gaunt mentions that he has fought the Dark Eldar in the past, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah,
so I think you could come in Gaunt's ghost direction. Doing Sharp in space. Or or Band of Brothers in Space, whichever, take the pick of your own flavour.
There's so many. I think, I guess similar to ish what they're doing with Star Wars, apart from you wouldn't get a kids' TV show out of it. In the Warhammer universe, is you could have.
Yeah, you wouldn't have a show called The Cherubs.
Yes. Oh God.
Cherub was meant to be given an important mission to assist as a battle commander.
Yeah.
He seems to have lost it. Hilarity ensued.
Oh, yeah.
He brought along his skull-faced chubby baby friend.
Yes, yeah. And one of his wings is a bit smaller, so he just flies around in circles.
And their mate, Sammy the Servo Skull. See, now I would watch that.
Yeah, I would. And no, it has to. I think that should be a sitcom, and it has an intro like Friends.
That'd be good. But yeah, so yeah, you're right. Star Wars.
But
got
different genres within the same universe. You know, like you have your general sort of epic sci-fi fantasy thing, but then all the bits underneath it, like Solo was a bit of a Western.
Yeah.
And you've got your sort of heist escape movies with like Andor movies, TV show, whatever.
Yeah.
I rewatched Andor recently and I really, really like it.
Well, I watched, I was out making breakfast yesterday morning and I glanced into the living room through the glass door and I thought, oh, and I went in and my eldest was watching Rogue One.
Yeah.
So I then finished making breakfast and watched Rogue One just all the way through to the end. And I said to him, then I said he hadn't watched Andor, but he's now 17. I think he was probably only about 15 when Andor came out as a show. But I said to him, I think you should probably now, with the age you are and your interest and attention span being that of an adult virtually, I said, you know, you should probably give Andor a watch now and get it watched because then I said you're in time for season two in April.
Because is that this year? Is it April?
Yeah, April.
So good.
So I'm really excited that, and also from the trailer, I'm really excited about the new season of Daredevil.
Yeah.
And I'm liking the fact that Disney haven't Disney-fied it.
No, still quite.
They haven't slapped a 12 certificate on it, which I'm really pleased about.
Oh, good.
They've gone, we're keeping it very much in the same vein as the Netflix ones, which is great.
I did enjoy the Netflix series.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
So some good stuff this year.
Yeah.
So, but you know what would be really funny is if Amazon go, right, here's your 40k story, here's your 40k show, and it's nobody. We know. Not a book, nothing. Just went bang, it's this team of Imperial Commandos, or it's this, or it's that, or it's, you know it'd be really interesting if they didn't follow a book.
Yes.
Because you don't have to.
No.
New books get written all the time in 40k and introduce brand new characters you've never heard of.
Yeah.
You know. So you could easily do that.
I'm really intrigued to see where it goes.
I hope they've got the bottle to do what they said they were going to do, is to also make it in films. Not necessarily on the cinema, although that would be great because the idea of seeing a load of cool things bouncing around on a big screen would be wonderful. But I hope at the very least they do Amazon movies as well, because obviously Amazon produces a load of films of its own.
Yeah.
To varying degrees of success and quality. But, you know, maybe, I don't know, maybe they'll go at the TV show first, not does well, go, right, well, the next story we're going to tell will be a cinema story. You know, Disney have done it in the fact that Disney have done The Mandalorian, and the Mandalorian story is going to be capped off by finishing
movie, right?
We'll finish on the cinema,
Season 3 was a bit of a letdown for me, I think. I wasn't there.
Yeah, it was decidedly average in parts.
Yeah.
But,
so, yeah, it'd be interesting. In a few years' time, we're like, season 3 of Warhammer just... I was really disappointed with the introduction of the character Jimmy Space.
But
I found it a bit on the nose when he said, yes, this is my Warhammer 40,000 smash or whatever. Yes. So I'm still super excited. I can't wait for all of the casting news and rumors.
I love that bit.
And I'm like,
the first photograph of somebody in costume.
Yeah, like the build.
That's always great.
The build up for it, it will probably be like, I remember the build up for episode 7. Star Wars. I remember when the first trailer came out and it had the really epic music and you'd see the Millennium Falcon and all that sort of stuff, and just seeing the characters in costume for the first time and blah 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 blah. Like, that was incredible, and just being as excited as I was then, just being like, oh fuck yeah.
I can't. So the hype. Once the hype gets rolling for me,
I think the hype is almost like more exciting than what you get sitting down and watching it.
I remember the very, very first photograph I seen on Mandalorian, and I was just like, I cannot wait.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah.
But so I don't think we'll be getting Tom Cruise, but it's nice that people are interested.
Yeah,
they're starting to build that, even if it's building their own hype, not real hype.
Even if he had like a cameo, like in Tropic Thunder.
Probably not as that character.
No, but if he just worked in the administratum and somebody's like, oh, we need to get in touch with the Earth and Holy Terror and run this past, and then he's just like, yeah, have you filled out this form and that form and that form and this form, and fuck it, let's just do a war crime. That could be really, really interesting. So, yes, I don't think we're getting Tom Cruise. I'd love it if we did have Tom Cruise.
Yes. We'll settle for Rebecca. We'll settle for Rebecca Ferguson, and we'll have Simon Pegg if they're available.
Yes, I think Simon Pegg would make a great savant.
Yeah, he would do, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
But he would be. I also do now think he would be a. Oh, do you know now? Now I want Simon Pegg to be Kane, and now I want Nick Frost to be Jurgen.
Yes. Oh, we just had the same thought. I think that would be hilarious, and I think Simon Pegg would be a better Kane than Tom Cruise.
You could imagine Nick Frost going, "Morty, Commissar."
Oh, it'd be so good. Yeah.
Oh, I could easily imagine Nick Frost as Jurgen.
Yes.
Even if you don't have Simon Pegg, I'll now just want Nick Frost to be Jurgen.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he's that expensive. So I think he's and he's done a TV show for Amazon once before already. He did that one where they were like
the Ghost
Hunters
Hunters or something like that. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, we'll have that.
But yeah, I even though the news was kind of generally fake, still really exciting. Yes. Still all aboard.
Well, it sparked my brain over think people I would like to see within the universe, and not just doing that thing and go, well, I want Sean Bean to be Rogan Josh. I nearly said that.
Yeah, Sean Bean just to be a curry.
I'm obsessed. And I want Tim Curry to be a bean.
Yes. You know what? How I think would be a great Kane? Rowan Atkinson.
Oh, well, there's lots of Blackadder in there already, isn't there?
Yeah. And
imagine if they just played it literally as going, it's the next Blackadder series in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. We can't call him Commissar Blackadder, but he blatantly is Commissar Blackadder.
Oh, that'd be so fun.
Wouldn't it be great? That would be really good.
And Tony Robinson as Jurgen.
Yeah. Which is blatantly is already, because when you seen him in the First World War ones, he always had a rash and looked a bit ropey around.
It's had some kind of psoriasis.
I was making horrendous tea out of bits of rat or something. Yeah. So yes, I'll take. I would definitely take that.
I think that would be hilarious. Yeah. So I think Rowan Atkinson he's like, he's not somebody like Mark Strong is like too heroic.
To be
Kane.
Yeah, but the problem being is they always on the cover of the books make him look massively heroic.
Oh, it's hilarious. He
looks like Henry Cavill on the cover of the books.
Yeah. He'd be like reaching out and his triceps are like absolutely massive. It's hilarious. But I love the Kane books. I think I need to start listening to them again.
Yeah, I did 3 and I thought I like them, but I need to have a bit of a break.
Yes.
And
because I was on. Because I've had a bit of a break from Warhammer novels at the minute. I just need to open my Audible, because what was I listening to? I think it was Pariah Nexus. But I might be... Oh, no, Indomitus.
Yeah.
And it's loads and loads and loads and loads of Ultramarines doing Ultramarine things.
Yeah.
A lot.
In a very Ultramarine manner.
And, I've got 5 hours left. And I was just sort of like struggling with it just a little bit.
Yeah.
So I
win a bit of I've got 2 credits on my Audible, and it's like, am I just going to do the next 2 Ghosts? I'm currently listening to Tracer General, which is really good, and I'm going to just do the next 2. And if I do the next 2, it then brings me up to where I finished on the books many years ago.
Yeah.
So I will be in new territory where I go, I now don't remember any. I have no memory to fall back on. It's just new books for me, which would be cool. But I'm also thinking, I really want to read, listen to. I really want to listen to Heat 2. Remember the movie Heat?
Yes.
Well, Michael Mann has written that as a sequel. Oh. But the problem being is I also know they're going to make it as a movie, and I normally prefer a book after the film. I'd rather watch the film not knowing there's loads of inconsistencies to the book.
Right.
And then enjoy the book and going, the book is better. But I enjoyed the film as it was there and then. Because I think if you go in and you've read the book, you're always going to sit there going, well, that's like... it's one of the things that killed The Walking Dead for me. It was I was up to date all the way through it with the comic book. So it was a bit. I like ignorance is bliss with a movie or a TV series, and then I'll fill in the blanks later on with a book. So I'm a bit like, do I listen to Heat 2 or wait till you've made it?
So my Audible credits at the moment. Well, actually, before I get into that, my girlfriend went to go and see Devil Wears Prada the musical. When she was working down in London recently, and she was like, "Oh, I preferred that bit from the movie, but then that bit from the book." Like, so imagine 15 years time. Yeah, I went to go and see Warhammer the musical, and it really departed from the TV show, and I actually genuinely prefer the LED model. And from third edition,
Les K. Diabolus.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah. You're like, oh, it's so sad, and it's 3.5 hours long.
Here comes the forces of chaos.
Let's Katie Robles. That's yeah. If they don't make that, they're fucking idiots.
I'm going to get straight onto the phone now to Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Oh, dearie me, that was funny. Yes. What am I going to do? I'm thinking of Deathcore Creed books.
Oh, yeah, they're meant to be good as well.
Yes. I've heard good things. Can somebody please tell me, because I don't know, you might know, which one I need to, because I think there's two.
I don't. I've just seen them on the shelves, but I don't know.
There's one that's just called Krieg.
Yeah.
And then there's the Siege of Vrax, I think it's called. And I'm not sure, like, I've just briefly looked at them. I don't know if they're a series or if there's one that you're supposed to listen to first or whatever. I think Siege of Vrax is a bit older.
Oh, right. Okay.
But we're greeted with you twice in one show.
Yeah.
In the middle, anyway. She's been up like 3 times now.
I know. So he comes up for a stretch.
Yeah. Big
and
stretch.
a yawn.
It's important. It's very important. You need to stretch. We're having a play fight now. Yes. So I'm keen to get on some. I think human stories. They're my sort of interest really. But saying that, I really really did like the Night Lords trilogy, and but that's from quite a few human perspectives as well.
Yeah.
So with the TV shows, I hope the lead character or a few of them are human.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I think that's the most important thing for me.
Right then, what we got next?
Painting bad habits.
Oh yes, this is a thing. Yeah, this is a bit where audience participation. We'd like to put in the comments, because we wanted to put it together for a future show. Want to do a show about things you're doing that you know you shouldn't be. No, I don't mean your next door neighbour. I mean, when it comes to the hobby. So we want you to confess your deepest, darkest sins with regards to things that you're doing when you're painting, that even though you're a grown-up, you know you shouldn't be doing. And
we should start the ball roll, because I've got a few.
Oh, I've got so many that I almost feel embarrassed now thinking that. I think of this. I thought this was a really good segment for the show, and I'm now thinking, and now I'm going to expose myself to being a muppet that I am.
Lay it all bare.
Yeah, I'm not very good at mixing me paints. I can be a bit bad for it sometimes, especially if I just go, oh, a dot of that would look great there. I have a habit of just ripping the lid off and just going straight in, and I can be a bit bad for it. When people go, oh, which is the best type of vortex mixer on the market, and I'm thinking, I barely shake them with my Mark 1 hand.
Oh, right. Sorry, yeah. When you were like mixing your paints, I'm like,
mixing
on
your
your
paints,
palette?
yes, shaking your paints. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I'm a bit bad for that.
If it's just a little dot of something, I don't think that's the worst thing in the world.
I was trying to make this sound better. It can be sometimes quite a lot of paint. I always like to think that the wet palette's doing the work.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah.
And the other one as well, which is talking about wet palette, I will eke the life out of that palette to the fact that I'm then working on about 1/4 of an inch of square left of the corner.
Left of your
trying to
of
think
your
instead
thing.
of just going, just change the bloody thing.
So yeah,
Terrible for that.
I'm pretty bad for changing it quite regularly. Like, say if I've got like a big patch of black or something, and I'm like, oh well, I couldn't possibly, and throw it in the bin and then chuck another one on. Yeah. I think the first one that comes to my mind is I'm horrific for, I think, overloading my brush. Say if I'm edge highlighting, but I now know that I'm doing it, which I think makes it worse.
Yeah,
I'll go, oh, I've overloaded that. Oh, it's all right. I'll just be really careful. And I fuck it up every time.
Yeah, and it's like, they go, there's a big ball of paint on the end.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be all right. Oh no, look how it wasn't.
Yeah. I every single time I'll do it, and I'll be like, no, this time it'll be different, and it never is.
My terrible one, and I know so, and I scream at myself, and I do it all the time, and I do scream at myself because I'm not using the world's cheapest brushes, and I'm, me and you both with him. With being involved with them, we both work with Artis Opus brushes.
Yeah.
Because we work alongside Byron, and also Byron and his lovely company produced our box set of brushes for us as well. Painting me feral. Bad, can be really bad for it. Or also going, I know really I should use a crappy brush that's on the end of its life to use metallics. And I just use the brush that I've totally got in my hand.
Somebody pulled me up on that in a painting video actually, using, because contrast paints are like really heavy on your bristles, and as well as metallics, and they were like, oh, you're gonna trash those lovely brushes. I remember chatting to Byron and Pete, and they were like, oh, I just wait until a brush is kind of at the end of its life, and then I'll paint the end of it like yellow, and then I know that it's my metallics brush. And the worst thing I did was I bought a size 6.
Okay, hefty brush that.
Yeah, and they're not cheap.
No, they're about 25 quid, I think, a 6.
I think more than that.
Oh my God.
I think definitely more than that. And now whenever I use it, because I'm just sort of like, yeah, big brush, woo! I've used it on quite a lot of metallics, like painting dreadnoughts and stuff like that. I'm like, I'd like to get this done really quick. And I've not taken care of it. And now it sits in a point, but as soon as I use it, it just be like 2 points. And it's a bit of a nightmare. And it's all completely my own fault.
The other one, which is related to metallics, is terrible for not emptying me water pot.
Oh, yeah.
Awful for it.
Because, yes, you're meant to change it every time you use metallics.
Mine looks like stagnant water at Chernobyl. Honest to God, it's awful. And I just think to myself, you've just done a load of lead belcher and washed that brush out, and now you're going in to paint something yellow.
Yes.
And I'm terrible for
just to give it that extra bit of shine, you know.
Basically, it's just like, am I just careless, or am I just, I think, utterly lazy? Or do I get in so much of a zone of going, I'm on a roll that I had metallic. Oh, it doesn't matter. I need to do. Yeah. And I don't know which of the, potentially three categories I fall in. Like, it's like, am I too focused? Am I utterly lazy? Or do I just not care enough? And I don't know which one it is. But, I was the other day, it's how it came to me the other day. I was sitting painting, and I counted about 5 things where I just thought, what are you doing? And a lot of it comes down to not looking after my brushes very well.
Yeah.
Like the other day, and this is probably one of the worst to admit to, I think. I used a relatively large Artis Opus brush the other day, and I watered down some PVA glue and used that to put it on the base.
See, I did that with some...
And I actually thought, what are you doing?
Because if it dries, you buggers, aren't you?
Yeah.
I did that with some matte varnish, and I didn't wash my brush off correctly, and the brush is fucked. So that's a size 3 that's as stiff.
And I love the size 3 brush as well.
Stiff as a board.
Well, now you've got one of them brushes that you can paint the end of and use it for something.
Yes,
that's your basing brush now.
Yeah,
there
absolutely.
You go.
Yes. It's on my desk, and occasionally I pick it up and go, oh. Just
I sit there sometimes thinking, this brush could really do with sorting out. Oh, look, there's one of them tubs of shampoo. Anyway, this brush could really do with being sorted out. So thing of shampoo there, for the love of God. When you go to finally empty that rotting bloomin' coffee mug that is standing in as your pot. Yeah. For the love of God, go and shampoo that brush while you're there. And it's just like, no, because I've got to finish this, thing, you know. So.
And I think that's the more I paint, the more I think, because the pro painters, and it's wonderful seeing someone that's incredible at painting do it in front of you.
Yes.
Because you realise that quite often they will have the same brushes, same wet palette, same model. There's obviously the knowledge gap.
Yes. It's just generally considerable for me.
Yeah. Skill gap, years of home practice and all that sort of stuff. But as well, I think just the adherence to you know, if you're doing an heavy metal piece or whatever, like you're not gonna make those mistakes of overloading your brush and this, that, and the other. And it's something like going, oh, mine looks a bit patchy, and like, Christ, with my Raptors, there's a shot where I'm painting a stripe down, a yellow stripe down a white shoulder pad.
Yeah.
And I just look at this really overloaded brush really close up, and I'm just watching myself going, oh, you massive dildo. No, dildos have a use. I'm just there, just like, bleh, and then there's a big pool of yellow at the end. I'm like, no wonder it looks shit. Like, I needed to dab my brush off on some paper towel and just commit to doing more layers. Because I think one thing I really fuck up is, and again, because I think it's because I overload my brush, or I go in too early and the paint's not dry, is just getting those really, really, really smooth base coats. Yeah. And I'll do something and I'll be like, oh, why is it patchy and shit? And I know exactly why it's patchy and shit. I just don't do anything about it.
But you'd rather pretend it's a problem that you can't figure out the answer to.
Yeah. You'd be like, oh no, what a shame. We'll never know why I wasn't
like that.
And I'm just like burying my head in the sand, I think. Well, no, I know exactly why.
Yeah.
Or I like to think that I do. I may not know. They're probably making mistakes that. But there we go.
Yeah, well, that's it. And I think, how many things am I doing wrong just because I'm not smart enough to know the difference? But yes, so please, there's a few of ours. We'd like to cover this in a not too distant from now episode. Come and talk to Priest Geoff and Priest Pat and get in the box and confess your sins for painting or model building. It can be more than anything within the hobby. Come and confess what it is you're doing wrong, and we'll do a whole segment about it. You can remain anonymous if you want to. Well, you can't really if you put it on there.
If you put it as a public comment.
If you put it on YouTube as a public comment, you can't. But no.
You could message the Painting Phase Instagram.
Yes, you could do that if you want to do that. Yeah, please get in touch and let us know your sins, and we'll cover them in a not too distant episode.
I think my sins... I think definitely have another sin with like brands of paints and things like that, because I think you know, right, low, wrongly, Games Workshop paints would get quite a lot of stick, like their whites especially, and you know, it's brand new and it's all separated into like the raw materials it's made from. You know, oh, you see the earth crust in there, and the beetle that you saw, whatever. You know, they really did get a lot of stick. You know, I bought the AK like briefcase years ago.
Yes,
and
right when we first started.
Yeah, and spent a lot of time in the AK system, and then I was just like, oh, they cover really well. Yeah, absolutely. But I think you know, I spent a lot of time in that system, so I got used to a lot of the paints. Yeah, I think they are very consistent. But then I think like my lack of work with Citadel over AK made me dislike Citadel a lot more. And like, a paint is a paint. You know, all of these, they all have their different uses and properties and all that sort of
and it's
stuff.
Funny though, isn't it? Because there's some paint, you know, and I don't want this discussion to become about paint, but
on the painting phase,
on the painting phase, yes, I know, but I don't want to go into the goods and the bads of paint here and now, but like, you know. People talk about anything that's pale in colour, and Games Workshop makes them are an absolute blooming nightmare. But you know, I had to work a little bit the other day. I've been hopefully improving my airbrushing, and I was using some Rack Art Flesh, and it's a blooming nightmare. But you know as well though, once you get it where it's meant to be, it's a great looking paint. It's a great colour. Yeah, it ticks so many boxes, and you go, you know, they're very easy to slag them off, but I think also as well, you put a little bit of work into them, you end up with really good.
Yeah. So when I sort of was like, right, I'm scared of faces, I'm going to paint a load of them, pretty much all of those were GW paints, because I went with tutorials that were online.
And their flesh variants are really strong.
Yes. Yeah. Like
probably about the widest, I think, amongst pretty much most of the paint ranges.
Cadian Flesh Tone, awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm intrigued to try painting a face just with AK.
Yeah.
But I think I'd probably find it like trickier, because they're really pigmented. You have to really water them down.
Yeah.
And say like the black, for example, you can, if you put as much water into that as you would with another black, it'd almost be a wash, but you can still get one coat coverage. It's probably a bit of an over exaggeration, but just try and get the point across, I guess.
Yeah.
It's exceptional. So I think like I'd now like with Cadian Flesh Stone, I'd be like, oh okay, blah, 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 blah. And then and actually on a face where you're using such essentially minute amounts of paint for painting such a small thing. I really liked the open top and just pulling a little bit out.
Yeah.
And I would still be using too much, whereas a dropper bottle, I think, is very easy to just go switch.
I don't know whether it's just my claw-like hands now, but I am at the moment with, I don't know how much paint I'm, and I know everyone loves them and I do get it, but I don't know how much paint I'm wasting at the moment with dropper bottles. I was like painting half of it across the table. God, there seems to be more paint on there than there actually was in the bottles to begin with.
Yeah.
But so I know there's a lot of, moaning and yes, the other day I got a load of paints out that I needed to use to do something, and I got all of them out in advance for the Citadel paints that they were, and I opened them up and I ended up the gap I had between customers in the barbershop turned into let's clean all of these pots. And I took all the lids off and turned them inside out and got the scalpel in, which is extremely satisfying, but also at the same point in time,
it all comes off in a
and it comes off in a ring, and you go, hey, and then I got to the end of it, and then I was like, oh, and my client is in 5 minutes, and didn't do any painting. But so I know there's a multitude of things wrong with them, but at the same point in time, I just find sometimes with a dropper bottle, just the amount of paint I waste trying to. My brain's going, just a drop, Geoff, just a drop, and look, now I've got enough to paint a Land Raider, So, yes. So anyway, confess your sins, and we'll talk about them on a future episode in the future. What have we got left?
The goings on with the Games Workshop Creator Program.
Yes, we've sadly had one of our wider crew, if you will, from within YouTube, our Austrian friend Trevorian, has just been taken off the program.
Yes.
He's made a video about it, and he's been very level-headed about why it's happened, and we've sort of surmised on certain areas, and one of them being, we've been talking about, is the John Blanche paints with...
Yeah, so like definitely, like I don't want to say like whether Terrarian's right or wrong or whatever.
No.
Because I don't like necessarily
speculating
on other creators. But we could speculate on Games Workshop because they're a big faceless corporation.
Yeah.
So that's all good. He's put out his video, and there's sort of he doesn't necessarily go into why, but says you can speculate, and then shows screenshots. So it's
I couldn't dream of saying.
Yes. Exhibit not A. Yes. So what's sort of potentially more interesting is Games Workshop's sort of stance with their creators. So they don't, as far as I'm aware, don't necessarily pay those that are on the creator program.
No.
I mean, I know that they've sponsored other videos and that kind of thing before, but they send creators free product, and in return they get the publicity of it, relatively speaking, works well for both people. Games Workshop product gets shown to a lot of people, and those that are on it get to show models, unreleased models, and that will bring more attention to their videos.
Yeah.
I think it's relatively safe to assume that this would probably involve the John Blanche paint set.
Yes.
Because that seems to be the catalyst for what's gone on.
Yeah. I think, can I just interject as well there? I think there's been videos lately about the John Blanche paint set where people seem to be suggesting that Games Workshop have missed the mark.
Yes.
He worked for them for lots and lots of years, and then Army Painter have released this set, and why haven't Games Workshop released this set? And a lot of people sort of suggesting that Games Workshop have missed out through their own ignorance, but I didn't ever feel like that at all, because yes, I think to doing something to honour the legacy of John Blanche, even though they've released books about John Blanche's work and they've shown John Blanche's design concepts for things in many things that they've done. They're going, oh, well, Games Workshop should have been making this paint set. But the problem being, I think, is that Games Workshop don't make paint sets other than starter paint sets for people who are just getting into the hobby.
Yes.
Here's a box to paint.
Get like 3 Space Marines and the paint's required.
Here's to make here's to paint a Space Marine. Here's to paint a Tyranid or what. I think they did one for them as well. And you go, that's about it, really.
Yeah.
They don't, and they don't do specialist paints other than they do a number of colours within the air range, which people forget about, which I always really like.
Yes.
I buy them even if they're not going through it. I used to buy them before I had an airbrush because I just go, I am going to use that colour a lot.
They're pre-thinned.
And they're pre-thinned and they're in a bigger bottle. Yeah, know you're not getting it the same. It's not like you're going, well, I got this for the same price as a smaller one. Yes, they cost more, but I'm going to use a lot of that colour.
Yeah.
But they don't do a specialist thing. And also as well, the bit that I think that people miss is the fact that John Blanche and Blanchitsu and this whole grim dark thing, I love it. I think it's great. I paint sometimes a little bit in that way myself, but I really like it. But Games Workshop, when it comes to releasing miniatures, go with a very standardized heavy metal paint scheme.
Yes, it's designed
to look good on a box in Codex shots.
Yeah,
it's that.
Looks good from every angle.
It's, generally 3 highlights, and that's the way they do it, and that's it. And then if Games Workshop then started going, well, there's this slightly more erratic, dirtier Battlefield colour scheme, which I completely understand is more realistic. I've been covered in mud in a trench myself, I get it. But you're then sort of then trying to sell 2 styles of what they do at once. And that's Games Workshop can't really do that.
Yeah.
And then this thing of going, well, we're doing a paint dedicated to our artist. I wholeheartedly get how important John Blanche has been for Games Workshop.
Yeah.
He's massively formed how the 40k universe looks, and also Old World as well, but 40k. He's really been the eye, the creative eye of that sort of feel to it. And, a lot of, I think, of that also lands with Jez Goodwin as well, and how he designed the Marines later on and so on. But that's not how they are presented on the box. And Games Workshop increasingly is pushing everything towards the box. The miniatures in the rules reflect how you buy them in a box.
Yeah.
All these things are reflective of the plastic. And I think to then go, oh, Games Workshop missed a trick. It's a great clickbait. Well, clickbait's a bit strong. It's a great title for a thumbnail.
Yes, yeah, like playing the YouTube game. I think it seems like it has been such a well received product.
Yeah,
like Army Painter.
I think with a brilliant bit of foresight to nail
credit to them. I think they're on a roll at the minute. Like the Fanatic paints have been really well received. Speed Paint 2.0 I think is fantastic. And then coming out with the Blanche paint set, I'm like, awesome. Like that makes business sense. And on the gut reaction when you see something like that is, oh crikey, yeah, Games Workshop are really fucked up with that, haven't they? Like John Blanche has retired.
Yes.
But he can still. You can't copyright paint colours, and he can put his name to Army Painter.
Yeah, like, can,
absolutely credit to him for
why wouldn't you?
For making that bread.
Yeah.
But I agree with you to the extent that I think a specific paint set of a specific art style, even though it's a Games Workshop artist, is too far down the hobby trumpet.
Yeah.
For Games Workshop, it's not a Games Workshop product. That
no, and other companies are doing it. Pro Acrol.
Yes.
They do Ninjon paints. There's Louis Sugden paints. There's Flame on Miniatures paints, and there's probably many more than that. And they can do that because Pro Acrol, being Monument Hobbies, who are lovely, lovely people. I really enjoy any time I spend with them. They're great guys. They can do that because they don't have. There's not the Pro Acrol style. They just make paint.
Yeah.
Well, and brushes but peripherals, you know what I'm getting at. But they don't make miniatures.
No.
And they don't have miniatures on boxes. So to support artists...
They do have, I see it every time I open my boot. And I forget to bring it in.
They do make miniatures.
Hobby trainer,
they do make miniatures, but
so
not...
they're like little busts.
Yeah, but they're not, but they are there for allowing you to learn to paint better. But they don't make rank and file soldiers that need to be sold and shown on the front of a box.
Yeah.
As brilliant as much as I love their paints and I love the people that make them, that's not what they do. So they can do paints named after, they can do boxes of paints named after people. And I'm glad they do it. I think it's quite cool. And the same goes again for Colourforge.
Yep.
Starting to do sprays that where they go, this one isn't directly mimicking a Games Workshop paint or existing rattle can.
Yeah.
We're doing a bit of colour that's not been covered before, but we're going to tap into the YouTubers for like your friends of mine being Pete the Wargamer and even Valrak, who's got a yellow. Yes, I'm simping. Yeah, but, 3 times now.
One more, you're going to have to propose.
I know, yeah. I'm trying to tell you what happens when I go and say it 5 times. Hey. But, so, I understand how other companies can do it and how it allows them the flexibility to do it. But Games Workshop, I think, sort of saying to them, oh, well, you missed a trick. They didn't miss a trick. It's not a trick that they could have in their...
No.
In their show,
which I think if that's which makes the reaction to say Trevorion's video potentially worse, because if it was never a product that they were going to make, if they've been annoyed that, because my interpretation of it is you've got a direct competitor's paints used on a Games Workshop pre-release model that they've sent you for free.
Nothing, yes.
But where's the line? How, is there something in the contract that they would have had to sign? I haven't seen it. I can't imagine they would force you to paint the models with only Citadel paints.
No, and they haven't in the past.
And
the amount you look at,
Ninjon, for example.
Ninjon uses a lot of AK, a lot of Vallejo, Squidmar, especially at the moment because he's got his own. Again, there's another company doing ranges with people's names attached to them, being Vallejo, putting paints out who are still painting, mainly painting miniatures that are their own miniatures at the moment. But I've just watched Lucas paint something that was blatantly a GW money. It was an Age of Sigmar, whatever it was, and he painted all of that using their own paint sets.
Yeah,
so he's promoting Games Workshop, but doing an amazing good job of promoting their own / Vallejo paints.
My personal impression of the situation, happy to be wrong, is that it's never been an issue before. It's only an issue now because the fact that John Blanche is attached to it kind of makes Workshop look bad.
Yes. And I think it makes Games Workshop look worse because of the aforementioned videos that more than one YouTuber has released going, Games Workshop missed a trick.
Yes. And doing like, it's such an open goal as far as a YouTube video goes, doing Blanchitsu, like you wouldn't do that on a third-party model. You'd do it on a Warhammer model.
Excuse me, you would. TIE fighter flying over, do apologise.
So that makes a great deal of sense, and especially with Krieg and the way it's like a perfect storm of them being released at the same time. From a Workshop perspective, yes, you could argue you're doing this, and this. You're directly promoting a competitor's paints and so on and so forth. But then also, YouTube videos are sponsored. We have Squarespace sponsorships. Like, it's not necessarily like there's not really the crossover there. But if they could go, oh well, we're giving you free product. Like, how far? Where's the line?
Yes.
Like, how far do Games Workshop go into everything? And is it on the creator to know exactly where that is? Is it someone at Workshop? I imagine it came from quite high up. Does it depend on just what video they've seen and gone, oh, I didn't like that, kick them off? Yeah.
Or has it been a number of strikes? Because Trevorian, who I would like to point out now, I'm a big fan of. I've been a Patreon of his in the past as well. He's been he's been there from not the very beginning by any stretch of imagination, but he's been a steady rock within the YouTube painting side of things for a long time. I love his painting style. He's got quite a full shelf when it comes to Golden Demons. The boy knows exactly what he's talking about. I have a lot of time for him, and I do love his very, very dry Austrian sense of humour. One of his gags that he made many, many moons ago about basements still remains one of my favourite remarks.
I think I already know where that's
I thought was great, and I'm not going to say it, but it was one of those tea out me nose moments when he said it. So I have a lot of time for him, but at the same point in time, Trevorian isn't shy from saying, I thought Golden Demon was poor this year, or I thought the judging was poor this year, or I didn't like this, I didn't like that miniature was better received than that, and he's got a lot of Golden Demons on his shelf behind him, so he has more right to say about any of this than I do. Especially, like I say, I'm a man that puts the paint up to the ferrule on the brush, so he's got a lot more opportunity to see. He's got more right, shall we go with? He's got more right to be able to.
He's a good sculptor.
Yeah.
Looking at the Inquisitor that he resculpted,
which is excellent.
That got a lot of stick, like the original model.
Yeah, and his go of it was excellent.
Yeah.
So I think he can be allowed to hold court quite a bit, but I think has he just done so much that as now, was there already a lot of nails in the coffin, and this was the last one because. Ninjon did the same thing. He painted.
Yes,
he
painted
same model. Basically the same model, or even
paints.
the same with the same paints.
And they both look very different, which was really cool.
Yeah. So, where I don't know whether right, Trevorian, if you want a DM, please do. Is the line that got crossed that they knew they were crossing, or was the line just put in and then they told they crossed it? I don't know I don't know how it had gone. I think it's a shame.
More the second one than the first.
Yeah. I think it's a shame that Trevorian isn't going to be producing miniatures in advance, because I think getting your brand new, especially if you can paint to a good standard to follow, Trevorian does a lot of good, low, medium, and quite high level tips with regards to how he paints.
100%.
If you go and buy your brand new box from your friendly local gaming store, maybe Element, or wherever, Games Workshop, wherever it is you come home with it. What have you got on today?
I've even got my. I haven't worn a shirt in ages. I can't do the buttons.
Who are you simping for today on your t-shirt?
Games
right, Balrack on your t-shirt. Hey, Gamescape.
So
our friends in San Francisco.
Yes, we have a discount code now for people in the US.
Excellent.
That's in the description. I'm going to suit back up.
Who we've had on the show, good old blue hair Serge. He works for them. Lovely man that he is. And I think it's a shame that Trevorian won't be out there having miniatures painted for when you come running home with your box.
Yeah.
Ready to go for his video, and there won't be one there. I think is a real shame.
Yes.
He
said before, he's previously absolutely shat on Army Painter when they've released stuff that's been not very good.
Yeah.
And I think their comments on the video.
He does massive doses of honesty.
Yes.
And he, like I say, honesty sometimes with a side serving of blunt.
Yeah.
I think it's a shame.
Yeah, I think for everybody, it's just a bit shit.
Yeah.
Games Workshop won't be happy. Trevorian won't be happy. The viewers of the community won't necessarily be happy that much either. It's been less of a controversy than because I guess he's been booted off. He's announced it. The video is very measured and just like, hey, this happened. This is maybe why I'll let you make your own minds up. I'm going to crack on as normal. You're like, great, nice one. So it's not so much that, oh my God, than it perhaps could have been, which I don't think is a bad thing. I just, for the creators involved, I guess it's going to make people think, or force them to think, like how much control did DW exert over people's channels?
And the thing is, as well, and look, if Games Workshop exert a load of control over your channel, and you signed that paperwork, and they send you that plastic, then
it all depends what's in the contract.
Yeah, exactly right. If you didn't do your job of sticking to your contract, then
because
you know, then,
I guess like a certain
but
element of.
But if the goalposts are moving, and it wasn't massively put down in your contract with regards moving the goalpost, then I think there's
I think it is unfair. Perhaps it could be argued as I would argue that it potentially would be, just be like, hey, that happened. Maybe we're not as much of a fan of that. Try and avoid it in the future.
Yeah.
Perhaps. But then also, we're in a social media world where sort of these platforms, you know, people that are angry are engaged and they're typing, and that is more of a thing. You know, when Neil's on and everything, you know, that's probably our most disliked video. It was a contentious topic, and it certainly educated us. We're like, no, we need to pay that a bit more dues. Anyway, all that was going on. We were getting loads of stick, and YouTube says, your audience is responding to this. You should do more like it. I'm like,
no, I don't think we should.
No, I don't. No, we shouldn't. No, thank you. I've lost enough hair already. And you know, it's an algorithm. It doesn't necessarily know, but it's like, oh, people are engaging with this. They're hitting a thumb down or a thumb up, or they're typing a comment. They're doing this. Like, it's happening more than usual. Whatever you're doing,
keep doing that.
Go for it.
Yeah.
And
even if the comments are saying that you're the three of you are dickheads, then great, it's a comment.
Fair enough. And I think, you know, having Krieg, John Blanche, now with a different company, and you'd look at these two things and you'd be like, oh wow, this is creator heaven. Yeah. This is the perfect sandwich.
Yeah.
How could you not? And I don't think anybody in the comments, like, I don't think it's particularly controversial. Like, people go, oh, really nice, well-painted model. I like those paints.
Yes.
It's not, like, that much of a thing.
Yeah.
But...
See, it's hard, isn't it? Because you think, you know, if, you know, I think if games were... This is the thing, and I often relate this back to many things with, like, bits that people make that add on to Games Workshop products and so on, is the fact... You still ultimately buy the Games Workshop product, don't you?
Yeah.
Even if you're going to cover your Deathcore or Krieg miniatures in John Blanche paint, you've still gone and bought the plastic.
Yes. And that's their core.
And is it unrealistic to think you can own every bit of that? Going, we only want GW clippers to cut them off the sprues, and GW brushes, and GW paints, and GW glue. You're just never going to get that.
If they do that, they have to pay people.
Yeah.
For each video
if
that
Games
they make.
Workshop had gone, hang on a minute, you used John Blanche paint on a 3D printed resin miniature that looked a lot like a Deathcore or Krieg on a horse, then I could maybe go, we're not massively keen on how close that miniature looked. But to go and use your John Blanche paints on Deathcore or Krieg, you've still got to go and buy Deathcore or Krieg.
Yeah.
And, you know, what's more important, being upset about somebody else's paints, or the fact that that person then did a really good video showing you that your horsey trench man is available to buy?
Because I guess, like, if you know, YouTube, I believe, is Jerome's full-time job. So you know, it's he needs the views, he needs the clicks. You have to, you really have to play the game.
Yeah.
So I don't think what he did was too much of a stretch. Like, I can also, on the other hand, go, oh, it's not a great look for Workshop.
Yeah.
It's not a product that they'd make. It still makes them look a bit silly. And then, if you don't want the clause of a corporation sort of controlling what you do, then I think you do have to sort of part ways with it. Treverian will still be painting Warhammer.
Yeah, he will do. I'm sure he will. Yeah.
It would be interesting if they took him off, but then he still got sent the miniatures. That'd be great.
But, you know, good luck to Savorian and it carrying on without GW, and, you know...
Yeah, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
I like to think he will.
Because, you know, I still really enjoy his work. But, you know, if you're not playing the game, you've got to play the game. And if the game is shifting around, you have to maybe decide about whether you want to stay on, still playing that game. It's a bit, you know... That ended up sounding like a very sitting on the fence decision, but it's a comment. But it was never we never decided with this we were going to blame anybody, but we just thought the subject of it was worth talking about, really.
Yeah, I think so. I think Games Workshop a bit like the fact that the product exists. Yeah, well, yeah, I'm just regurgitating everything that we've already talked about.
Yeah.
It's all just a bit shit. And I side with a creator over a company that makes millions of pounds worth of profit every day.
Back again.
Yeah, what do you think?
Don't care? No? Okay.
Yeah, food, please.
Yeah. Until Games Workshop start making doggy treats, I don't give a monkeys.
Yeah, there we go. And I believe that's everything we covered today.
Yes. So as per usual, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Put a like, put a comment, especially put a comment, because we want to hear your hobby sins. Notification bell, and any of our affiliate links, if you could use them for buying your future bits of plastic. Yeah, they'd be really appreciated.
We've got lots of ones from different countries.
And a big thank you to our
patrons.
They're the fellas who get to watch these shows early. Thank you very much. You are helping keeping us going. It's really appreciated.
Absolutely.
So I think that's about it, isn't it, buddy?
I think that is about it.
Oh, can we just say as well, sorry again, no Ross. His children are on an inset day. So so they've got like a teacher working day without children, if you don't use that terminology wherever you are in the world. But hopefully he'll be in soon. And next week, all being well, and we hopefully all being well, we'll be having the wonderful, wonderful Tommy Sewell on, who may be teaching one of us morons how to paint, all being well. So, yes. So until then,
woof, woof, woof.
That's how it ends. Until then, woof, woof, woof.
Yeah,
there you go.
That's it. Done.
Until then,
bye.
Bye.